Moxley versus Christopher Daniels kicked off this very special AEW Rampage on a Saturday. So straight away, I had people messaging me going, lol, you look like Christopher Daniels. And the Johnny Sins references start. I'm sick of it. Also, hello, my friends. Welcome to Ups and Downs, the YouTube show that never stops because wrestling never stops. And yeah, Rampage got shifted to Saturday. Now it's Saturday morning. So I take my finger up power and give the good bits up and the bad bits down. Always sounds just a little bit dirty. I love it. But yeah, this is how we started, and it was a little bit odd, because where did it come from? Where did it go? Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe? Now, bless Excalibur, he tried to explain this, because he was like, well, I tell you, the Blackpool Combat Club hates the Elite, and Christopher Daniels has always kind of been friends with the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, and John don't like it. So I tell you, if you're Matt and Nick Jackson's plumber, I would leave the country. They did do some wrestling to begin with, and Christopher Daniels must have regretted this, because soon after he got thrown to the outside, he got absolutely murked on the floor when Mox just threw him into Simba the Steel Steps. And I bet when he was lying on the floor, he was like, hello, darkness, my old friend, as he dreamt about headlocks. Daniels almost got counted out during this too, but as soon as he got back in the ring, Jonathan just gave him a cutter. That always makes me chuckle, because this is how it works now. You are going to become a professional wrestler, you better know how to dive, and you better know how to do a cutter. Suddenly Daniels was able to score a crossbody from the top, so he was like, I'm going to do it, when once again, Moxley just flattened him with the lariat and then was like, that's it, I'm finishing you. Because he got the pile driver and he went in with those big elbows when he went to hit the Death Rider. And Chris was all like, no, I don't want to take the Ride of Death, so he got out of it. And amazingly, he hit the Angel's Wings too. Now, if you're not sure, that is Christopher Daniels' finisher, and if he had just pinned a little bit sooner, well, I bet Moxley still would have kicked out. John Moxley, he ain't losing to Chris Dan. It was all Jonathan needed to get going though, because he went and put those big elbows in again. He locked in the Bulldog choke. This time Christopher Daniels was not able to get out of it. He passed out, tapped out, whatever you want to say, and John is your winner. Oddly, Moxley also shook Christopher Daniels' hand after this, and I was like, I don't think that's going to pay off. Like a tell, I'm going to remember that. And it turns out I was going to be correct, and this is getting it up. I just called it a tell. It meant telltale game, I'm so tired. Mark Sterling and Jade Cargill then confirmed that on Dynamite it is going to be Jade Cargill versus Taya Valkyrie. But according to Mark, who is a lawyer, Taya has been banned from using the road to Valhalla. So my hand went right up. Who signed off on that? And if it is like someone at the top, you massively biased. I do hope there's a big old plan for this though, because I do think the feud has been good when it was big old pop time. Because out came Hook, out came Isaiah Cassidy, and out came the Hardy Boys. I love these guys. I'm not even sure how they did become a thing, but I am massively into it because they kind of represent wrestling in a past, present, and future dealio. So maybe when we get to Christmas Eve, they're going to visit wrestlers and tell them the truth. Jeff Hardy also did some speaking here, and he got a massive reaction, and he did say it's time to retire from screwing up. Now, I don't think we should be making little jokes about this, but more importantly than all of that, I really hope that Jeff is in a good place because health and happiness before anything else. So let's hope he can just enjoy the last few years of his wrestling run. Hardy was going to say something too when all of a sudden Stokely Hathaway appeared on the big screen, and I love this guy too. He was like, listen, we're doing this The Firm deletion match, and I want to know where it is. And Matt was like, well, I'm not going to tell you because I don't have to. As it turned out, this was a ruse because The Firm then did attack these guys from behind. And honestly, this ego's edge that Isaiah Cassidy took from Ethan Page, he bumped his ass off. It took the Hardy Boys getting a couple of steel chairs to run all these guys off. And I can't lie, I would tell you the truth. Why would I do anything else? It's my show, it would be weird. I am very excited about all this woke and broken stuff returning. I liked it in round 1. Round 2 didn't work, so we didn't have the fans, so let's do it properly in round 3 and just make me feel warm and fuzzy in my tum-tum. Because I like fun. The opposite of fun is not fun. I don't want not fun. Up. Then I had a promo with Keith Lee and Dustin Rhodes telling us that they're going to be a tag team on Dynamite. And while I do really enjoy the chemistry between them, can't lie, a little part of me, this part right here, is just go and do the match with Swerve Strickland, do the match with Swerve Strickland, do the match with Swerve Strickland, please for the love of everything, do the match with Swerve Strickland. I mean, it's been so long now, I'm worried I'm going to be dead before this happens. When we also cut to Adam Cole quickly, he was like, listen, Christopher Jericho, given what you did to me on Wednesday, come this Dynamite, I'm going to punch you right in the mouth. I was like, yes, that does make perfect sense. It also led right into another match with Julia Hart, and I was like, yes, more of this, and she was taken on Kira Hogan. Now, here is the deal. We kept it relatively short at only 3 minutes, but I do think that was smart because sometimes less is more, and we should continue to do this, especially on shows like Rampage, if this Saturday Night Collision is a real thing, because then we can just see everyone getting better and better and better, That's half the point of wrestling. You gotta build new stars. This was alright too. I mean, Kiera Hogan hit this pretty cool sliding drop kick, and then Julia was like, ha, I'm going to hit you with a neck breaker, because she wanted to break your neck. But ultimately, I do think this was a little bit of a showcase for the House of Black member. Because she also did a nip up at one point, busted out a moonsault, and I was like, well, that was pretty cool. When she applied this new submission that I think is called like Heart Failure. No, it's not called that. It's called Heartless, which is basically the rings of Saturn. But somebody must have taught her this really well. Looked quite good. It meant that Hogan had to tap out, so that's another win for Julia Hart, and of course Anna JS came out after this to continue that feud. But that's what we should be doing. Not everything has to be 5-star gangbusters. You can just have these little bitty things going on. So for one reason or another, I truly enjoyed this, and I hope both continue to smash it up. And then Jon Moxley knew what I knew that Jon Moxley was gonna do. This guy. Because Christopher Daniels was in the back when all of a sudden the Blackpool Combat Club did approach him. And while at first it seemed all fine, to the point Chris was like, I see. You do still have honor, like it was a Star Wars movie. John then grabbed him and threw him into Larry the Locker. Willie Utah and Claudio Castagnoli also thought this was hilarious, like, we killed him, so who the hell knows what's going on in their mind? They've totally lost it. On the down low, I really like it, they crazy. We then got even more shenanigans, which tied into Dynamite as well, because it was FTR and Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal taking on the varsity athletes, with Mark Briscoe watching on from the back, because he booked this with his magic powers. It was just a good time. And the most important part was actually the commentators who, drawing this, were like, do you know, Tony Khan's not very happy with what Sammy Guevara and MJF did on Dynamite, so maybe he'll have something to say about it. And given that later on we did learn that Tone is going to talk in a few days, I would just keep things calm here. He's probably going to talk about the world title match. 4-way still on. Otherwise, this was fun. Slim J and Cash Wheeler started out, and at one point, Slim J went to do a drop kick, so Cash just grabbed him and slammed his ass, and then Dax Harwood was in there, and he was doing his thing. FTR rock. Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett did kept tagging themselves in, though, so they were causing a little bit of a ruckus, although when they did get on top here, they all did that strut. That was kind of nice, especially because it was about to go very wrong, because Jeff Jarrett and Dax Harwood ran into each other. Ruh-roh. Eventually Dax was over this though, and he did get the hot tag, and he just ran wild. And honestly, he's so damn good. It's like your dad has come home from work and he just wants to kick everybody's ass. But if you listened in the distance, you would have heard, ha, because the tag klaxon went off. Or I'm having a problem. It's when Mark Sterling freaked out and he got on the apron to try and stop all of this. But it was actually Jeff who took advantage. He started being a right old dick. He hit the stroke, and then he looked at Harwood and said, pin him, we're gonna win. It also meant that instantly everybody was falling out and arguing when Mark Briscoe came out and was like, can't we all get along? I was like, don't you not want to get along with him either? That's the whole point. But I enjoy this storyline, especially because on Dynamite we're getting Dax Harwood versus Jeff Jarrett, and I tell you now, that is gonna be far better than you're thinking. Up. Then got even more announcements because we learned that Orange Cassidy is going to have his 20th international title challenge this week. He's taken on Bandido. And I'll be completely honest with you. As much as I love Orange Cassidy, I think he's one of the best wrestlers in the world. Don't at me. He'll probably lose here. We've told a story. With his hand. Right after that too, we were also told that it is going to be Kenny Omega and Takeshita taking on the Butcher and the Blade. I mean, I want to see that match so damn bad. Especially because the Butcher here just went, we're going to cook some ass. That guy is great. It's also when we were transported to some kind of weird alien wrestling planet, because it was Vikingo taking on Dralistico for the AAA Mega title, and I can't explain this to you because I don't talk whatever language they were talking. I mean, before we even started, Dralistico hit Vikingo with this absolutely ridiculous dive, and when Vikingo went to do the same at him, I kid you not, he flew through the ropes and just landed on the floor. Like a normal concrete floor. What are we doing? They started to trade shots as Dralistico hit this absolutely nut-snap German suplex, Guten Tag, but that was also just the catalyst to hit the go trigger. Because Vikingo did this Poison Rana, we then had this Springboard Destroyer like it was nothing, and they were just flipping and flying everywhere so effortlessly, I started to feel bad. I don't even know what that means. I just think they're better human beings. All of this happened in around about 39 seconds as well. It was just bam, 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 wham, thank you, man. But don't worry, because they still had places to go. Then there was a moonsault to the floor, there was a springboard code breaker. There was a destroyer into the ring apron, which is the hardest part of the ring. And this is when Preston Vance and Rush also freaked out. They were at ringside. So they started attacking Viking with an O. And finally the ref saw them and was like, look, I can't keep up with the match as it is. You guys gotta flub off. And they did. It's also when both competitors were kind of trapped up in the ropes where they did this Hurricane Rana to the outside. I was just melting down as an individual. Forget actually coming up with this in the back. how did they go out there and pull it off? Briscoe then went for his La Mystica armbar, and I was like, dude, there is no way you can win with that after this match. And even though Vikingo got to the ropes, Briscoe's like, well, I've done it. I was like, man, you've totally made a mess of this. It also meant that Vikingo was able to get back into it when he defied the laws of physics with that 630 senton, which I'm not watching right now, I'm just reliving it in my mind. He got the 1, 2, 3, and he retained his title. Now, I worry about these people in a few years' time, but hey-ho, sometimes you do have to live for now. But they do get a round of applause, and I'm not even sure if I did watch this, or it was a dream. It is getting enough. Barnes and Roosh returned afterwards to beat the hell out of the guy too, so I suppose we can do those 2 singles matches as well. Yeah, you find 10 minutes today, and you're like, I tell you what I hate, gravity. Do I have the match for you? Which brought us to the end of Rampage, and as always, it was a fine 60 minutes. It just flew on by. It's kind of nice watching it on a Sunday. Also, sometimes I wish there was less wrestling. I'm still giving it up. Now, please do leave a comment below and let me know what you thought about last night's episode of Rampage. Make sure you check out SmackDown Ups and Downs from yesterday. It will be on the screen. Like the video, share the video, subscribe. Check out whatculture.com and come say hello. At WhatCulture WWE and Simon Miller 316 over on Twitter, Instagram, and social media. My name is Simon What Culture. Make sure you have yourself a lovely little day. We'll get back into it tomorrow because it is a brand new wrestling week, and honestly, if you like news, it's going to be the week for news. Let's go.